My dog won't stop barking. Come on. Willie. Song of the Trees. This story was written by Mildred Taylor in 1975. That essentially is about black family owns a large piece of land, and this white man comes in, as the characters describe him, an old white man, comes in and says he's gonna buy their trees. The context of the story is very important to understand the language of the story, because even though he's saying he's gonna buy the land, he's really just telling them, hey, I'm gonna give you a very small amount of money and I'm just gonna decimate your land. I'm gonna destroy all the trees. I'm gonna take them, make a ton of money off of them, and there's nothing you can do about it because I'm white and you're black. Hold on. Willie's here. Getting nervous, me talking to the camera. David goes to Louisiana, get a job. To make some money, sends about $10, $20 a month, something like that, home to the family so that they can live. The family's struggling. David's out of town, he's out of state working. His wife, Mary, doesn't have any more medicine. She's very sick. She's like scolding her son for eating corn, the rest of the cornbread. They're running out of flour, they're running out of sugar. This is not just a matter of running down to the store and picking these things up. They don't have the money to get this. Big Mom's not worried though, because they have the land. They can grow food, they have chickens, they got the blackberries they can get from the forest. And that's when we get introduced to Mr. Anderson, the old white man, the racist guy, who's spray painting white X's on all the trees. And you know, even his workers are like, are we really gonna take all of these trees? He's like, don't worry about it. I'll go talk to Big Ma or David's mother, Cassie's grandmother, and says, I'll talk her into it. He goes up to the house, he's like, I'll give you $65. And this is where the intensity of the situation can be lost if you don't really understand the racial tensions of the time. So this takes place in the 30s. We don't know exactly what year. In the 1920s, the roaring 20s, everyone's making all this money. The KKK makes a huge comeback. They get a ton of members. Lynchings were, like where mobs would come and they'd grab people and hang them, were pretty a regular occurrence in the 20s, leading into the 30s. Time in America where African Americans were being murdered for basically just being African American. Mr. Anderson, he's the old white man. He's talking to Big Ma and is saying, look, I'll give you $60 or $65 to buy all these trees. What if something happens to your son and he can't send that money home? She has the response that accidents don't happen to black men in Mississippi. Basically calling him out. There's not going to be an accident. You are going to murder my son if I don't give you these trees. And so she's scared, understandably. She's very scared. So she says, okay, fine, whatever. All this time, Cassie doesn't really understand what's happening. She just knows that she loves the trees. She loves the forest. She loves the sound of the song of the trees when the wind blows through. She even says it feels like they're singing to her. And that personification of the trees singing shows how much she cares about the land. Stacy, the oldest daughter, rides down to Louisiana to go bring her father back for him to stand up to Mr. Anderson. As soon as they get back, they start planting dynamite all over the forest. David goes up to Mr. Anderson and tells him, leave. If you don't leave, I'm going to blow up the forest. I'm going to destroy all these trees. And Mr. Anderson, he says this thing to him. He says, but you realize what'll happen if you do that. The sense of David committing suicide is very that's the feeling, right? He's going to blow himself up because he even says, I would rather die than, let you have these trees. And some of you might be thinking, I'm not going to die over some trees. That's crazy. Why would I do that? Well, again, the context of this is that really what happens is he blows those trees up. Mr. Anderson's going to kill him. This is, like I said, I've said a few times, this is Mississippi in the 30s. The reason why hate crimes are a federal offense in America is because of Mississippi. Mississippi's flag is the Confederate flag with a couple extra stripes on the side. So Mr. Anderson, he's taking all of this power, all this privilege of being a white man in Mississippi, and he's just throwing it in David's face, saying, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to kill you. And so David says, screw it. Kill me. You're not getting away with this. And so Mr. Anderson backs up. He goes, okay, fine, I'm just going to take the trees I've cut. David cuts them off. He's like, no. Leave them there to rot. Can you imagine? This is a man who could be murdered just for being black, standing up against this powerful white man, telling him, screw it, kill me, I don't care, these trees are mine. I'd like these videos to be more than just learning, sharing a little bit of things. So I'm gonna go get some books, show you guys what I'm reading right now. All right, my reading list. So one thing I'm reading right now, it's a collection of short stories by my favorite author, Hermann Hesse. Klinger's Last Summer. I've only read the first story so far. A Child's Heart, about a little kid dealing with the guilt of stealing figs from his father. A little nonfiction here on how to write better emotions into stories. Excellent. And Day Tripper. It's a collection of, it's like a comic collection of short stories where the end of all of them is how the main character dies. So this is my first time making any of these videos. It's very nerve-wracking. It feels really uncomfortable. I'll get up in front of an auditorium full of kids, have no problem. Make a fool of myself is fine. Sitting here looking to a camera, it's really weird feeling. But I'll keep trying to make these better, make them more interesting, so that you guys will actually watch it. That the goal is for you to learn something, to pull something, to just think about reading in a little bit different way, hopefully. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Ring that bell. Bye. Stack of comics I just read.